Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In this video assignment of Code BIO310 Introduction to Human Biology, we are going to share an insights on the study of food poisoning among UiTM students based on the questionnaire that we have conducted before. Consists of 5 group members who have been working side to side, which are ALYA SYAFIQAH binti AZHAR, NOOR SOFEA binti ABDUL, NOOR ELIYA IZDIHA binti Muhammad HASRIN, NOOR SYAHINDAH binti Muhammad RAZIB, and lastly me myself JASMIN binti FAIZAL. In the video, we are going to share on the introduction, objectives of the study, methodology on how we carry out the study, the results and discussion, conclusion, and lastly is the references and evidences. Let's begin with the introduction of the study. Based on the study by AHMAD and others in 2018 stated that food is one of the basic needs of life and has a few types of intrinsic and extrinsic factors. The factors include hydrogen ion concentration pH, redox potential, water activity, different types of nutrients, antimicrobial substances, and environmental conditions that regulate the growth of pathogenic microorganisms that cause food spoilage, poisoning, toxicities, and so-called foodborne illness. Food intake may become poisonous due to the ingestion of small numbers of toxic chemicals or contamination from pathogenic microbes. This could be caused by mistreatment of food, improper handling of food, mixing of different types of flavoring agents without knowledge of their reactions, unhealthy cooking and consumption, eating already contaminated foods infested by insects, or improper storage which may lead to foodborne illness or food poisoning. The effects of consumers can be minor or major, with symptoms of sickness, hospitalizations, or even death. Next, Zoe and others in 2019 mentioned that in developing countries, food poisoning cases are usually due to the consumption of unhygienic foods, pesticide stains in food or water, and inappropriate food storage conditions. However, in developed countries, food poisoning is also a common disease among their citizens. The reason could be due to the increasing demand for low-priced food and the lack of ability to provide optimal care under hygienic conditions while preparing and storing food. The ignorance of certain food vendors could be one of the reasons for food poisoning occurrences. Food poisoning in this study is among UiTM students is a common disease that most of the students experience, whether severe or less severe symptoms. Symptoms could include diarrhea, vomiting, nausea, headaches, stomach pain, and muscle pain. Most of the students may have contracted the disease through the food vendors, UiTM cafe food, or food bought from the roadside. There is also one case of a food poisoning outbreak in the UiTM cafe which has caused more than 10 students to become sick. Food poisoning can be cured if the person takes precautions and gets early treatment for their symptoms. Certain medications can be taken to reduce the food poisoning symptoms as prescribed by the health authorities. After that is the objectives of the study is to find out the number of UiTM TAPA students who have experienced food poisoning. And second is to investigate the causes of food poisoning among UiTM TAPA students. Third is to learn the symptoms of food poisoning experienced among UiTM TAPA students. Fourth is to share the knowledge of food poisoning and awareness of food poisoning among UiTM students. And lastly is to determine the treatment or medication suitable for food poisoning.
The methodology for our survey began with the selection of Google Forms as the platform, chosen for its user-friendly interface and efficient data collection features. Subsequently, to reach our target demographic, which comprises UiTM TAPA students aged 18 and above, we distributed the questionnaire through multiple communication channels. The dissemination occurred through personalized interaction on WhatsApp chat, visibility on WhatsApp status, and outreach via Telegram. This approach was chosen to ensure a comprehensive and diverse response from the intended respondents within the specified age group and the educational institution. So the Google form is structured into 6 sections. In section 1, we gather details about the respondents, focusing on their age range and gender. Section 2 explores the introduction of symptoms of food poisoning, touching on the basis of their experiences. Moving to the section 3, we delve into the cause of food poisoning among UiTM students, asking how and where they identified the cause of the food poisoning. For Section 4 focuses on the diagnosis from medical experts. In Section 5, we inquire about the prevention measures, aiming to understand their awareness and habits regarding food safety. Finally, Section 6 addresses treatments or medications, investigating if respondents sought medical attention and from which sources. This division allows us to comprehensively examine various aspects of food poisoning experiences among UiTM TAPA students.
There are 5 parts of the results and discussion, and I will explain for the introduction and symptoms of food poisoning. So based on the pie chart, this question aims to explore the respondents' understanding of food poisoning among 49 respondents of UiTM students. The participants have revealed a different perspective within the group. So the majority of the respondents, 83.7%, have associated food poisoning with the consumption of contaminated, spoiled, or toxic food. This indicates a common understanding that food poisoning often comes from the ingestion of that carries harmful bacteria such as Salmonella and E. coli, toxin, or has undergone spoil. Next, 12.2% provide a general description of getting food poisoning from something they consume, whether it be food or drink. Moreover, a majority of respondents, 4.1%, perceive food poisoning as an allergic reaction to the food or drink that they consume. This respondent may reflect a misunderstanding as food poisoning is typically related to contamination or toxic, rather than as an immune system response typical of allergies. Overall, this question provides insight into UiTM student understanding of food poisoning, and awareness effort may be needed because some of the students had misconception about food poisoning. Next, for the second pie chart, I have shown on how respondents would describe the symptoms if a person had food poisoning. And based on the result, the majority of respondents, approximately 67%, associate with food poisoning with the symptoms of diarrhea. Hence, it's aligned with a common symptom of food poisoning, including diarrhea. Next, 14.3% say constantly vomiting after eating is one of the symptoms of food poisoning. Moreover, 12.2% describe food poisoning as a person having an upset stomach and body ache, as aligned with general discomfort that can accompany food poisoning. And finally, a minority, 6.1%, believe that a person with food poisoning would experience all of the symptoms mentioned, which are diarrhea, vomiting, upset stomach, and body ache. These indicate an understanding that food poisoning can be a combination of symptoms rather than a single symptom. This is the result for the most common symptoms of food poisoning among the UiTM respondents based on the pie chart. The majority, 76.2%, choose vomiting and diarrhea as the most common symptoms of food poisoning. These symptoms are often associated with various types of foodborne illness caused by bacteria, viruses, or toxins. Next, 21.4% choose dehydration and diarrhea. Diarrhea is a frequent symptom of food poisoning and it's closely linked to dehydration. A minority, 2.4%, choose fever with muscle pain as the most common symptoms of food poisoning. Overall, the majority of respondents reported vomiting and diarrhea as the most common symptoms of food poisoning. However, the specific symptoms can be variety depending on the causative agent of food poisoning. Next, based on the pie chart, the majority of respondents, 81.6%, claim to have experienced symptoms of food poisoning. This high percentage suggests that a significant portion of the survey population has been encounters with food poisoning. On the other hand, a minority, 18.4%, report for not having experienced symptoms of food poisoning. This is the result for the condition of the respondent for food poisoning. The severity level was from 1 to 5, which from less severe to the most severe. 4.8% of the respondents has rated 1, which is less severe. It is considered their experience with food poisoning to be less severe as their conditions are not very impactful. Next, 9.5% rates their condition as 2, which indicate a moderate severity level. And this group may have experienced discomfort but doesn't consider the symptoms to be extremely severe. 35.7% rates their condition as 3 for the severity level for food poisoning. And next, 33.3% rate 4, which indicate a relatively high severity. And last but not least, 16.7% assign the highest severity rating of 5 of their food poisoning experience. This group has extremely severe with the symptoms of food poisoning. Next, this is the result for the symptoms experienced by respondents during getting food poisoning. The most common symptom reported by respondents is diarrhea, with 33.3% experiencing this symptom. Stomach ache is the second most commonly reported symptom, with 23.2% of respondents indicating experience this discomfort. A similar percentage, 23.3%, reported experience vomiting. And next, 5.8% mentioned dehydration as a symptom, which are common feature of severe cases of food poisoning. Meanwhile, headache is reported by 5.8% of respondents, and a minority, 4.3%, reported abdominal ache as a specific symptom, and other 4.3% mentioned fatigue as a symptom. In summary, the pie chart provides a variety of symptoms reported by respondents during food poisoning.
The 4.2, which is the causes of food poisoning among UiTM students. So based on the pie chart, from the total of 46 responses, a total of 69.4% of students obtained their food from campus cafes, followed by 40.3% from food vendors, 10.2% from off-campus restaurants, and 2% from self-cooked meals, all of the places and all except food vendors. Next, based on the pie chart, from the total of 46 responses, 77.6 students know that the main cause caused the food poisoning incident, followed by 40.3% of unknown sources and 4.1% from desserts and beverages. Then for 4.3, which is the diagnosis for medical expertise, based on the pie chart from the total of 46 responses, 61.2% of students answered yes and noticed unusual taste, smells, or appearance in any of the food they consume, while 38.8 students did not. Next, based on the pie chart from the total of 46 responses, 77.6% of students answered yes, while 22.4% of students answered no when there were others who consumed the same food and experienced similar symptoms. Then, based on the pie chart from the total of 46 responses, 44.9% of students experienced symptoms for a day or two, followed by 28.6% of students experienced for a few days, 16.3% of students experienced for 3 hours, while 6.1% of students did not experience the symptoms, and 4.1% of students experienced it a week or more. Then for 4.4, which is the prevention measures to avoid food poisoning, based on the pie chart, all of the students understand the importance of avoiding cross-contamination between raw and ready-to-eat foods. Based on the pie chart, from the total of 46 responses, 98 of students answered yes, while 2% of students answered no for being aware of the risk associated with consuming raw or undercooked egg.
The next service question is, how often do you wash your hand with soap and water before eating food or preparing food? There are 60% of students wash hands with a certain frequency, which is in scale 3, as 22% with a high frequency, which is scale 4, and the majority, 61%, with the highest frequency, which is in scale 5. Overall, most students prioritize hand hygiene, especially with frequent hand washing before dealing with food. Next, for treatment or medication to overcome food poisoning. The first question is, did you seek medical attention for your food poisoning symptoms? Most students, which is 74%, sought medical help for food poisoning symptoms, showing a proactive approach to health concerns. However, there are 27% that choose not to seek medical attention, indicating a notable minority with a different approach. The next question for the survey is, have you reported the food poisoning incident to the health authorities? There are about 39% of students reported food poisoning incident to health authorities, but the majority, 61%, did not. This raises questions about why many students might not report. The possible reasons could include not knowing, hesitancy, or thinking reporting is unnecessary in some cases. The last question in this survey is, have you taken any of this medication before help relieve your food poisoning effect? Many students, about 39%, use pain relievers like Panadols or aspirin to manage discomfort from food poisoning. Another group of 27% uses antidiarrheal medication for diarrhea, while 18% chooses solutions like loperamide or electrolyte drinks. A smaller 10% uses unspecified other medications, showing diverse remedies. Only 6% mention using antibiotics. This finding highlights various ways students manage food poisoning symptoms, but it's crucial to be cautious with self-medications, and service system should be addressed by professionals. In further conclusion, the survey shows that UiTM students know how to deal with food poisoning. Most students are aware of common causes and symptoms, focusing on contaminated or toxic food. Some students have misconceptions, especially about food poisoning and allergies. Students also use different methods to relieve symptoms like pain reliever or antidiarrheal medications. Many students have experienced food poisoning, often linked to campus cafe, and also good hygiene practices like frequent hand washing were observed in most students. And some students don't report food poisoning incidents, suggesting need for improvement. Overall, it's important for students to understand the causes, symptoms, and ways to prevent food poisoning for public health and safety. That's it from us. Thank you.